What if I told you the richest person in the room is usually the one nobody notices? Not the man stepping out of a Lamborghini, not the woman wearing a $20,000 designer handbag, not the person covered in luxury brands from head to toe. In fact, the people who look the richest are often the ones under the most financial pressure, while the people with real wealth usually look completely ordinary. Sounds backwards? Let me ask you something. If you saw two strangers walking down the street, the first is wearing a Rolex, designer clothes, and driving a brand new Mercedes. The second is wearing a plain t-shirt, old sneakers, and driving a 10-year-old Toyota. Who would you assume is richer? Most people wouldn't even hesitate. They'd point to the first person. But here's the shocking reality. One of the greatest studies ever conducted on millionaires found that a surprisingly large number of them didn't drive luxury cars. They didn't wear expensive watches. Many lived in average neighborhoods. Some even clipped coupons and searched for discounts. Meanwhile, many people living paycheck to paycheck looked far wealthier on the outside. How is that possible? Because modern society has taught us to recognize the appearance of wealth, not wealth itself. And that single misunderstanding has quietly cost millions of people their financial future. Today, looking rich has never been easier. With financing, credit cards, buy now, pay later services, almost anyone can create the illusion of success. A luxury car doesn't necessarily mean wealth. It might simply mean a 7-year loan. A designer watch doesn't always represent financial freedom. Sometimes it represents credit card debt. The expensive vacation posted online? You have no idea how long it'll take to pay for it. Yet every single day we're surrounded by these images, on Instagram, on TikTok, on YouTube, even in our own neighborhoods. And after seeing them thousands of times, our brain begins believing a dangerous lie. If I want to be successful, I need to look successful. That belief changes everything. People start buying things they don't truly need with money they haven't earned yet to impress people they'll probably never meet again. Without realizing it, they're sacrificing tomorrow's freedom for today's approval. And here's the cruel irony. The approval doesn't even last. People admire the new car for a few days, the new phone for a week, the luxury watch for a moment. Then everyone moves on. But the monthly payments, they stay. Month after month, year after year. That's the trap. You're no longer working to build wealth. You're working to maintain an image that becomes more expensive every year. Now, compare that to someone who thinks differently. Instead of asking, how can I look rich? They ask, how can I become financially free? Those two questions may sound similar, but they lead to completely different lives. One person spends money to earn attention, the other invests money to buy freedom. And over 10 or 20 years, the gap between them becomes almost impossible to close. Because real wealth isn't built through expensive purchases. It's built through invisible decisions that almost nobody applauds. The decisions to wait, to invest, to save, to ignore social pressure, to delay gratification when everyone else is chasing instant rewards. Ironically, those choices don't make you look rich. They often make you look surprisingly ordinary, maybe even poor. And that's exactly why so many truly wealthy people choose to live that way. Not because they can't afford more, but because they understand something that most people never do. Something that completely changes the relationship between money, status, and freedom. And once you understand that principle, you'll never chase the appearance of wealth again. Imagine two neighbors. They both earn around the same salary. They both started their careers at the same time. And 10 years later, one has a growing investment portfolio, little debt, and complete peace of mind. The other owns a luxury SUV, wears designer clothes, upgrades their phone every year, yet struggles to save even 1 month's worth of expenses. What separated them? It wasn't intelligence, it wasn't luck, and it wasn't even income. It was one simple decision. One chose to build wealth, the other chose to display it. And that's exactly how the status trap works. From the moment we're born, we're taught to compare ourselves to other people. As children, we compare toys. As teenagers, we compare clothes. As adults, we compare houses, salaries, vacations, and cars. The comparison never ends. It just becomes more expensive. The problem is, our brain isn't designed to measure success in absolute terms. It measures success relative to the people around us. If everyone around you buys a new car, suddenly your perfectly reliable car feels old. If your coworkers start wearing luxury watches, your watch somehow feels cheap. Nothing about your life actually became worse, only your perception changed. This psychological effect quietly drives billions of dollars in unnecessary spending every single year. Companies understand this better than anyone. That's why luxury brands rarely advertise features, they advertise status. A watch doesn't just tell time, it tells people you've made it. A sports car doesn't just get you from one place to another, it tells strangers you're successful. A designer logo isn't fabric, it's a social signal. And people pay extraordinary amounts of money for those signals, not because they need them, but because they want the feeling attached to them. For a brief moment, buying something expensive creates excitement. You feel accomplished, confident, important. But then something interesting happens. A few weeks later, that excitement disappears. The expensive purchase becomes normal. Your brain adapts, and suddenly something even more expensive catches your attention. Another watch, another vacation, another upgrade. The finish line keeps moving. Psychologists call this the hedonic treadmill. No matter how much you buy, your expectations rise just as quickly. You keep running, but you never actually arrive. This is why some people spend their entire lives chasing a lifestyle that never truly satisfies them. Because they're not buying products, they're buying emotions, respect, recognition, validation. The problem, those emotions can't be purchased permanently. They fade, and when they do, the monthly payments remain. Now, here's something fascinating. Think about the wealthiest person you've ever personally met. Did they constantly talk about money? Did they always try to impress everyone? Or were they surprisingly calm, surprisingly simple? Many truly wealthy people understand a secret that changes everything. Attention is expensive. Freedom is priceless. They don't need strangers to believe they're successful because they already know they are. That's why they don't feel pressured to prove anything. The less they need validation, the more control they have over their financial future. And this leads to an even bigger question. If real wealth isn't visible, then what do real wealthy people actually spend their money on? The answer is probably nothing like what you've been taught. If wealthy people aren't spending all their money on luxury cars, designer clothes, and expensive jewelry, then where does their money actually go? The answer is surprisingly simple. They buy things that make them richer, while everyone else buys things that make them look richer. At first, that difference seems small, but over time, it changes everything. Imagine you receive a $10,000 bonus. Most people immediately start thinking about what they can buy. A vacation, a new car, the latest technology, a luxury watch. There's nothing inherently wrong with enjoying your money. The problem begins when every extra dollar is spent on things that lose value the moment you own them. Now imagine someone else receives that exact same bonus. Instead of asking, "What can I buy?" they ask, "How can this money create more money?" It's a completely different mindset. Maybe they invest part of it. Maybe they start a small business. Maybe they learn a high-income skill. Maybe they purchase assets that have the potential to grow over time. The important point isn't the specific investment, it's the way they think. To them, money is an employee. Every dollar has a job, and its job is to come back with more dollars. That's a mindset most people never develop. Instead, they unknowingly do the opposite. They work for money, then immediately send that money away. The cycle repeats every month. Work, spend, repeat. Work, spend, repeat. Years pass, yet very little changes. Now here's something most people never notice. Real wealth often looks boring. It doesn't always come with flashy cars or designer brands. Sometimes it looks like someone driving the same reliable car for 10 years, living below their means, ignoring trends, saying no to unnecessary upgrades, choosing long-term security over short-term attention. From the outside, that lifestyle doesn't look exciting. In fact, some people might even judge it. They might assume that person isn't successful, but they're seeing only the surface.
Because while one person is spending thousands every month to maintain an image, the other is quietly buying something far more valuable: time. Every dollar invested today has the potential to buy hours, days, even years of future freedom. Think about it this way. A luxury watch tells people you have money. An investment portfolio can eventually give you the freedom to decide how you spend your mornings. Which one is more valuable? One impresses strangers, the other changes your life. This is why many financially successful people don't ask, "Can I afford this?" They ask something much more powerful. What is this purchase going to cost me in the future? Not just in dollars, but in opportunities, in flexibility, in freedom. Because every unnecessary expense has a hidden price. It's not only the money you spend today, it's everything that money could have become over the next 10 or 20 years. That's a cost most people never calculate. And once you start thinking that way, your relationship with money changes forever. But even if you understand all of this, there's one force that's constantly trying to pull you back into the cycle. A force so powerful that almost everyone experiences it. And if you don't recognize it, it can quietly destroy years of financial progress without you even noticing. Imagine this. You finally get the promotion you've been working toward for years. Your income increases. For the first time in a long while, you feel like you can breathe. Then something strange happens. A friend buys a brand new BMW. Your coworker posts pictures from a luxury vacation in Italy. Another friend moves into a bigger house. Someone you went to school with suddenly appears on Instagram wearing designer clothes and expensive watches. Without realizing it, your definition of normal begins to change. The car you loved 6 months ago suddenly feels outdated. Your apartment feels too small. Your phone feels old. Nothing in your life actually got worse, but your expectations did. This is one of the most dangerous financial traps in modern society. It's called lifestyle inflation. And it doesn't happen because people are irresponsible. It happens because comparison is built into human nature. For thousands of years, comparing ourselves to others helped us survive. Today, it helps companies sell more products. Every advertisement tells the same story. You're only one purchase away from becoming the person you want to be. A better car, a better wardrobe, a better house, a better lifestyle. But here's the question nobody asks. If buying more things really made people happy, why do so many high-income earners still feel financially stressed? Research has shown that financial stress doesn't disappear simply because income increases. For many people, their spending rises at almost the same speed as their paycheck. The result? Someone earning $250,000 a year can feel just as trapped as someone earning $60,000. Different numbers, same pressure. Because the problem isn't always how much you make, it's how much your lifestyle demands from you. Now think about social media. You're not comparing yourself to reality, you're comparing yourself to carefully edited highlight reels. You see someone's new car, you don't see the monthly payment. You see the luxury vacation, you don't see the credit card balance. You see the beautiful house, you don't see 30 years of mortgage payments. People naturally share their successes. Very few share their financial struggles. And that's what makes comparison so dangerous. You're comparing your everyday life to someone else's best moment. It's a game you can never win. The truly wealthy understand this. They don't build their lives around impressing strangers. They build their lives around protecting their future. Sometimes that means saying no. No to unnecessary upgrades. No to status purchases. No to trying to keep up with people who may not even be financially secure themselves. Because every dollar you don't spend trying to impress someone is another dollar working toward your independence. And here's the irony. The people chasing status often believe they're getting ahead, but many are actually falling further behind with every purchase. Meanwhile, the quiet investor, the business owner, the person living below their means, they rarely attract attention. But year after year, their financial position becomes stronger. Not because they looked rich, but because they never felt the need to. And that leads to one final question. If looking wealthy can quietly keep you trapped, what does real financial freedom actually look like? The answer has almost nothing to do with money itself. What does it actually mean to be rich? Ask 10 different people and you'll probably get 10 different answers. Some will say it's owning a mansion. Others will say it's driving a Ferrari. Some imagine private jets, luxury vacations, or wearing a watch that costs more than most people earn in a year. But what if we've been measuring wealth the wrong way all along? Think about this. If someone owns 3 luxury cars, but has to wake up every morning terrified of losing their job, are they truly rich? If someone lives in a multi-million-dollar home, but every payment depends on their next paycheck, are they financially free? Now imagine another person. They don't own a supercar. They don't wear designer clothes. Most people wouldn't even look twice at them. But they wake up every morning knowing their investments cover their living expenses. They can spend time with their family, travel when they want, turn down work they don't enjoy, and sleep peacefully without worrying about next month's bills. Who is actually wealthier? The answer becomes obvious, because true wealth was never about owning expensive things. It was always about owning your time. Time is the one thing money can never create. It can only give you more control over how you use it. That's why financially successful people often protect their time more carefully than their money. They understand that every financial decision is really a life decision. Every unnecessary payment steals a little flexibility from your future. Every smart investment buys a little more freedom. This is why real wealth is so difficult to recognize. Freedom doesn't make noise. Peace of mind doesn't show up in Instagram photos. Financial security doesn't attract attention. But those invisible rewards are worth far more than temporary admiration from strangers. One day, the person who spent years trying to look rich may still be working just to support their lifestyle. The person who quietly built wealth may have something far more valuable: choices. The choice to retire early, the choice to start a business, the choice to help their family, the choice to say no without fear. Those choices are the true luxury. Not a logo, not a sports car, not a designer suit. And here's the biggest lesson of all. The world rewards people who look successful for a moment, but it rewards people who become financially independent for a lifetime. So the next time you're tempted to buy something just to impress other people, pause for a second. Ask yourself one question. Am I buying freedom or am I buying attention? That single question can change the direction of your financial future. Because at the end of the day, looking poor isn't about pretending you have nothing. It's about refusing to sacrifice tomorrow just to impress someone today. The wealthiest people often understand something the rest of the world spends decades chasing. Money isn't meant to be seen. It's meant to create freedom. And once you realize that, you'll stop trying to look rich and start becoming rich instead. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe for more insights on wealth, psychology, and the hidden habits that separate financial freedom from financial stress. Because sometimes the smartest financial move you'll ever make is the one that nobody notices.